everyone, it's Carly here. I just wanted to jump on and share some of my learnings with you from the last probably 3 weeks. A couple of weeks ago, it might have even been last week, I shared a pretty vulnerable post about self-love and how I had reached a place where I realised that actually I've probably got quite low self-worth. So I first realised this a few years ago, it was probably about 5 years ago now, when I found myself back in depression. I'd had depression once before in London, before I moved to Australia. And I found myself back in this place, I realised, because I was in a position where I wasn't actually helping anybody else, right? So I've spent my whole life helping other people. I've always ended up in professions where I'm helping other people, as a corrections officer, working in mental health, in psychology, in Reiki and coaching, and I remember being really young as a kid and being the agony aunt to my friends at school, being the one that my friends would come to help them feel better, and I just naturally knew what to say. So it was a natural progression for me to end up in a helping profession. And I know that I'll do that for the rest of my life in some way or another. But what I realised 5 years ago when I ended up back in depression was that all my self-worth, pretty much all my self-worth, came from helping other people. This was at a time when I wasn't in a job where I was helping anyone. I was tree planting to get a visa to stay in Australia. I wasn't in a relationship. I was just not in a position where I was really helping anybody else. And so I found myself in this big black hole. And when I came to that realization that all my self-worth came from helping other people, I thought, well, that's a bit of a messed up place to be coming from. So I focused a lot at that point on self-care. But what I realised recently was that although I explored self-care a lot of the time, and I've carried on doing that ever since, I've never really gone really deep into exploring self-worth and raising my self-worth. And that came to me recently because I have been blocked with this particular pattern, or a couple of patterns in my life. And recently it's become more obvious to me because I've achieved some really amazing goals. I left my full-time job to do my business full-time. I got engaged, I built my dream house by the ocean. I achieved all these massive goals that I'd set for myself over the previous few years, including residency in Australia. And what I found was that the more I achieved and the more dreams in my life I achieved, the less I felt worthy of it. And this wasn't a conscious thing, but it came more in the form of this kind of empty, hollow feeling, lonely feeling, really, that kept growing, which was confusing to me because I didn't really know that that's what was going on, but B, there was no reason in my life that I could see for me to be feeling that way. But it kind of came through this increasing sense of unhappiness despite all this amazing stuff that I'd achieved. And I know that stuff doesn't make you happy, but achieving goals has made me really happy. And yeah, I just found myself in this interesting place where I thought, what is that feeling? And I had an aha moment a couple of weeks ago. I've done personal development on myself for about 15 years now. I'm not a stranger to it at all. But I had this sudden realization that actually I've never really gone really, really deep into exploring how I really feel about myself, my own self-love, my own self-worth. And, over the years, that's been reflected in pretty poor boundaries with people when it comes to helping people who maybe don't want to be helped. So it's been reflected throughout my life, I can see that. But recently, I've just started focusing as a priority on self-love, raising my self-esteem, raising my self-worth. On the face of it, I'm a really happy, bubbly person. I love people, I'm confident, I love what I do. But deep down, there's all these layers of stuff to uncover that I had no idea were there, because a lot of this has come from when I was in the womb, from when I was a really small child, from memories I don't have consciously. So I've been really unpacking that, really delving deep into self-love. There's been loads of amazing things that have happened as a result of that. So what I've noticed recently is that my boundaries are getting way more firm, but without me even trying. So if someone is saying something that I'm not, my phone just rang. Sorry guys, my phone just rang, so I cut out there. So the way that I've been seeing this as a reflection of me doing this really deep self-love work is that, first of all, my boundaries are getting stronger, but I'm not even thinking about it. So if someone says or does something that I don't like, then I just walk away from it. And it's just easy for me to do that. I'm better equipped to say the things that I want for myself. It's just coming in a more easy, natural way, I'm finding. The second thing that I'm finding is that my income is increasing through my business. More people are booking in, and that's just, so it's like this manifesting stuff is happening without me even thinking about it, because my own self-worth is improving. I'm getting stronger about what my value is. Another thing that I noticed yesterday was that I kind of went through this phase of just really craving carbs, craving anything with melted cheese on. Anyone who knows and loves me will know that I love my cheese. But I found myself working from home, reaching for the cupboard and reaching for things that I didn't really want it necessarily. I wasn't really hungry, but there was like this inner emptiness, this need that I didn't know what the need was necessarily, and I was kind of filling it in that way. What I found in the last couple of days, I'm just not even thinking about that. I'm not even thinking about eating when I'm not hungry. So that's a really interesting thing that's happening. And there's lots of other amazing things that are happening. I just feel really happy, through doing this work on myself, self-love work in particular, because I've been doing personal development work on myself for a really long time. But this focus on self-love, self-esteem, self-worth, and increasing it and ditching the stuff that is underneath that isn't nice. I'm just feeling that there isn't that emptiness there anymore. There's not that hole, there's not that longing, there's not that sense of loneliness or isolation. That didn't make sense to me at the time. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you today, because I know when I posted that post, that vulnerable post a week or two ago, a lot of people liked it, shared it, commented on it. It really resonated with a lot of people, and that's why I shared that vulnerable post, because I knew that it would. I know that this is relevant for pretty much everybody. We all have limiting beliefs. We all have low self-worth. And I'm not talking about loving yourself to the point of being an egomaniac or being just a narcissist. I'm talking about loving yourself for the true, authentic you that you really are, not being afraid to shine, but really getting yourself out there in whatever way that means for you, but really loving yourself to the point where you do have boundaries and you don't take shit from anybody. Because if you really think about it, everything comes down to self-love. So if you're in a shitty relationship, it's because you don't love yourself enough to make a change or feel like you deserve anything better. If you're being bullied by your boss at work, or you're in a job that you hate, would you be doing that if you really loved yourself? Would you stay in a job that you hated, that didn't do you any good, physically, mentally, emotionally, if you really loved, valued and honoured yourself? You wouldn't. Would you be in any crappy situation in your life if you truly loved yourself? You wouldn't. So this work is really, really relevant to everybody on the planet. If we all loved ourselves more, if we all loved, respected, valued, honoured ourselves and the amazing work that we're doing in the world, life would be really different. The whole planet would be really different, wouldn't it? There wouldn't be half the things going on that there are in the world at the moment. So I want you to really reflect on this video, reflect on what it means for you, reflect on what's going on in your life, what's showing up in your life that maybe you don't like so much, and look at it as a reflection of the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you feel you're worth a particular thing, whether you deserve a particular thing or not. So I really want you to reflect on that today, and comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to get in touch with me. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear any aha moments that you've had. Feel free to get in touch, and if there's anything at all that I can help you with, just drop me a message. I'd love to hear from you, and there's always the offer of a free 30-minute call with me just to nut out how you're feeling, talk about maybe ways that you can deal with that, cope with that, move on from that, close the door on your past, that kind of thing. So I hope you have an amazing day. That's what I popped in to say to you today. It was just really, my aha moments from the last couple of weeks. It's just been really amazing. So I encourage everyone to really take some time to reflect on that, and where you might be able to do that for yourself as well. Have an amazing day, and I will see you very soon.